Enga mana, enga waka, enga reo, e rau rangatirama, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora koutou and welcome to Cloud Day here in Auckland. First of all, I want to thank our friends from Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei for their impressive vision they have shared. And I do agree, our technology and investments are meant to create connections, opportunity, and carry us forward. What if all of you could build anything you imagine here in New Zealand? To me, one of the most inspiring aspects of working with organizations in Aotearoa is seeing how they are driving innovation that reaches global markets. Kiwis are again reshaping what's possible. It starts with 3 non-negotiable foundations. First is resiliency. In today's interconnected world, continuous operations are critical for your business success. That's why AWS has built the world's most reliable infrastructure with multiple layers of technology designed to keep your applications running when you need them the most. A recent Frost & Sullivan study found that AWS achieved 99.54% uptime across APAC. That's the highest across all cloud providers. Second is security. In today's digital landscape, security must be built into everything we do. At AWS, it starts at the silicon level, including our unique AWS Nitro system, and extends through every layer of the stack. Your data remains your data, protected by the world's most comprehensive security controls in AWS. And the third is innovation. New Zealand has always punched above its weight in global innovation, from pioneering digital government services to world-leading software and climate tech solutions. Kiwi organizations are using AWS to solve problems that matter. These 3 pillars form the foundation of everything we build at AWS. Today, I'm excited to show you how our technology comes together to help you create solutions that are resilient by design, secure by default, and innovative at their core. As always, I want to thank our sponsors who have helped make today possible. Now, I would like to welcome our esteemed guest, the Right Honourable Christopher Luxon, Prime Minister of New Zealand. It is our great honor to have you here, sir, on this very important day for AWS, our customers, and our partners. Prime Minister, when your government launched its Going for Growth strategy earlier this year, I was excited. It resonated so strongly with me because our AWS commitments and investments in New Zealand are so well aligned to your vision about developing Kiwi talent, promoting global exports and bringing investments to New Zealand, powering innovation and science, and delivering a digital infrastructure for future growth. Since 2013, AWS has been investing significantly in New Zealand for our Kiwi customers, and we have been growing our presence since. And today, I am very excited to announce the launch of our AWS Asia Pacific New Zealand region here at Cloud Day in Tamaki, Makaurau.
Koto, kia ora. What a fantastic start to what's going to be a truly inspiring and awesome day today. It's a real pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here amongst people who have ambition and aspiration and can-do and positivity. It's been a real pleasure to speak to some of the exhibitors already out there at the expo, and just blown away and encouraged by how much enthusiasm and energy there is in the room and how much potential together we can realise in this great country of ours. Look, before I begin, can I just acknowledge Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei and just say again, thank you for that wonderful, generous gift from your ancestors all those years ago, but more importantly for what Ngāti Whātua do today in Tamaki Makaurau, making this a better place. We so appreciate them. Can I acknowledge Amazon's representatives that are here today, Rian van Valhuizen, who is the AWS VP and ANZ Managing Director, Kurt Kerfeld, who is the VP for Global Operations and Safety, Roger Somerville, who is the Director of ANZ Public Policy, Manuel Bohnet, who you've already met, is the New Zealand Country Manager, and of course Paul Keating, who is the New Zealand Head of Public Policy. Can I say thank you, team, for the warm invitation, and more importantly, thank you for the leadership and the way that you're leading the AWS team in this part of the world. We so appreciate it. But to all of you that are here as sponsors or as participants in the expo, or people wanting to come along and get educated about the AWS services, can I just say thank you for what you do. You are the lifeblood of New Zealand business, and we need to power up, and we've got a lot of great things to do in this country. We are going to build the most advanced small country on earth, and for that to happen, government, partnering with business and with the community is how we're going to get that job done. And I think a lot of the future and a lot of the ideas are lying here in what we'll discuss today, which is really fantastic. I think for way too long, New Zealand has put the shutters up on investment. We have been way too reluctant to recognise the benefits for Kiwis from attracting overseas investment into our country. Well, I have to tell you, that has well and truly changed under this government, because we are open for business and we are obsessed on growth above everything. And we welcome investment to New Zealand because that's how we actually provide jobs for Kiwis. That's actually how we lift our incomes, by supporting new businesses, and we invest in existing ones that are thirsty for new capital injections to leverage further growth. But if you're a major international investor like AWS, I've got to tell you, New Zealand is just one of 195 countries that are all competing for your money and your ideas. And yes, we want that growth that comes from investment, but I'm telling you, there are plenty of other countries out there that also want it too. And so the competition is incredibly fierce. And the solution, I think, for us as Kiwis is that we need to compete harder. We need to make New Zealand a much more attractive place to do business and to make big investments like we've seen from AWS. That's why earlier this year I announced that New Zealand would be forming a new central one-stop shop for investment called Invest New Zealand. And AWS's investment in New Zealand is a fine example of the capital, but also the expertise that we can attract if we do that right. Invest New Zealand was modelled after the successful frameworks for Ireland's Industrial Development Agency and Singapore's Economic Development Board. And the new agency is being tasked with replicating their achievements in attracting substantial foreign capital and fostering innovation. Now, I have to say, the investment today by AWS of 7.5 billion New Zealand dollars, let me just say that again, $7.5 billion from AWS in New Zealand has been well flagged, but it is a great example of how we need to welcome companies, people and ideas that can improve the lives of New Zealanders. I've got to tell you, I think that investment is immense and it is historic. It will have a significant impact on our GDP. It will create up to 1,000 jobs, and it will deliver more than almost $11 billion worth of boost to our GDP. And it is confidence that shows that New Zealand is a great place for investment for the future. We believe that this is the largest publicly announced technology investment in New Zealand. It's certainly the largest by any international technology company. And I know that for many of the companies that are here, some of New Zealand's most prominent technology companies have built their success taking their products and services to Kiwis, but out across the whole world on AWS technology, which is taking their tech out there to the world. Companies like Xero and PushPay and Halter and Sharesies and Orion Health and Gentrack and Matter, just to name a few. this investment will see even many more of our great Kiwi startups and entrepreneurs joining that list. As some of you will be aware, AWS already has regional zones in Ireland and Singapore. They're the two economies that we often look to for inspiration on investment and technology, and we're excited to be part of the AWS expansion. But AWS's decision to establish a cloud region here signals our growing role as a digital hub in the Asia-Pacific region. It reflects the strength of our digital infrastructure, the incredible world-class talent of our workforce and people, and our shared commitment to innovation, sustainability, and economic resilience. But beyond the numbers, the billions invested and the thousands of jobs created, this is in fact all about opportunity for all New Zealanders. For our tech sector, it means access to world-class cloud services. For our small and medium enterprises, it's about having the tools to scale globally and to become more productive. For our public sector, it means enhanced security, performance, and resilience. And rest assured, we have a big job to digitise government, and that's a big focus of mine going forward from here. And I'd just say to you, for our young people in New Zealand, it's a tremendous signal that the future of work and the future of technology is being built right here at home. So the AWS investment aligns very strongly with our Going for Growth plan, which are the 5 things that we think we need to do to lift the collective living standards of all of us here in New Zealand. It will create Kiwi jobs and it will grow talent. It will power innovation in science and technology and innovation to develop higher value products and services. It will promote global exports and bring and attract investment to New Zealand. And it will deliver the critical digital infrastructure that will be world-class and empower future growth. So I guess on behalf of the government and on behalf of all New Zealanders, I just want to extend again our sincere gratitude and thanks to AWS for your confidence in our country, for your confidence in our people, and for your confidence in our future. This is a major milestone, not just in terms of size, but I think in what it represents. It's a vote of confidence in New Zealand as a place to do business, to innovate, and to build for the long term. And this investment will supercharge growth, and it is key to creating more jobs, lifting incomes, and putting more money in the back pockets of Kiwis. So I can again say thank you, congratulations, and once again to Rian and all of the AWS team, we wish you even more success going forward. And likewise to all the investors, the entrepreneurs, the startups, the companies that are represented here in this room, thank you for your ambition, your relentlessness, your positivity, your can-do, and I'm determined that we will continue to back you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister, very much for these inspiring words about a bold and technology-driven future. Thank you. Our commitment to New Zealand has grown significantly over more than a decade. In 2016, we invested in the Hawaii cable system connecting New Zealand to Australia and the US West Coast. As of today, we operate the world's largest private network with more than 6 million kilometers of fiber optic cabling, connecting our regions, availability zones, and edge locations. We also brought a content delivery network to New Zealand when launching Amazon CloudFront in 2020. We launched AWS Outpost the same year to enable hybrid workloads and established Direct Connect and an AWS local zone in 2023. We have consistently invested to meet our customers' expectations and demand. For our customers in Aotearoa, this means you can leverage global scale while maintaining local control. And today, we have the AWS Asia Pacific New Zealand region. Amazon invests $7.5 billion New Zealand dollars, which is projected to support 1,000 new jobs and contribute $10.8 billion to Aotearoa's GDP. When it comes to our infrastructure design, we leave nothing to chance. Our commitment to security, resiliency, and high availability is unmatched in the industry. We are building our infrastructure responsibly and sustainably. Our new region here follows this standard. Each AWS region is a physical geographic location where we have a cluster of data centers. This region is made up of 3 separate locations across Auckland known as availability zones. These are isolated and physically separate, yet close enough to provide low latency. We will also offer multiple direct connect locations for you to connect into this new region. This design isn't just about redundancy, it's about giving you the confidence to build applications that can withstand the most challenging scenarios while keeping your data close to home. Building technology is only part of our commitment to New Zealand. What matters is developing the talent that will use it. Having already trained 50,000 New Zealanders in cloud skills, we are now partnering with Lumify to train 10,000 more before the end of this year through our New Zealand National Cloud Up campaign. This includes a series of free generative AI workshops to help New Zealanders harness AI's potential and enable businesses to upskill their workforce, followed by a 6-week AWS AI practitioner certification program, which combines self-paced learning with live training session that leads to a globally recognized AWS certification. And we are ensuring the program reaches all communities with dedicated pathways for students, job seekers, Māori, and Pacifica, supported by Hapori, Wahine, and Dreamhouse speakers. Aside from our investments and skills initiatives, I wanted to provide you an update on our leading technology that empowers you to build anything you can imagine. We are giving our customers the opportunity to choose the best technology for their use case, whether they're building a website or training an AI model. First is compute. Today, you can access over 850 instance types through EC2, ensuring you have the ideal instance for any workload. We are particularly excited about our custom-made silicon Graviton 4 that delivers 20% better performance than the best x86 chips out there, at 20% lower the cost. The latest generation consumes 60% less energy, showcasing how performance and sustainability go hand in hand. Half of the compute capacity we've added over the last 2 years has been Graviton, and we will bring them to New Zealand too. Moving to storage. S3 has become the foundation of data storage in the cloud. As of today, globally, there is 400 trillion objects stored in S3. That's more than 50,000 objects for every person on Earth. But what's truly exciting is how we are transforming this massive scale into intelligence. Our new S3 vector capabilities reduce vector storage cost by 90% while maintaining sub-second query performance. This means your AI applications can now access and learn from vastly more data than ever before. Let's talk about databases. We understand the challenges of running distributed systems across regions. That's why we have implemented precise time synchronization for multi-region consistency. This means you can run active database configurations while maintaining strong consistency with low latency. That's crucial for businesses who operate across multiple regions, including the new one here in New Zealand. And just like compute, storage, and database, inference has evolved to become a critical building block for your applications. That's why we have built Amazon Bedrock as the easiest way to build and scale GenAI applications in AWS. With Bedrock, we offer a broad selection of fully managed frontier models across a variety of leading providers to help you access the best model for the job, including, of course, Amazon Nova, our own family of frontier models specifically designed to offer leading options across quality, speed, and cost. Of course, you get other leading models from leading providers like Anthropic, Meta, or OpenAI. Next to model choice, responsible AI is paramount in today's fast-moving world. Amazon Bedrock Guardrails helps you block harmful or unwanted inputs and outputs for your GenAI application. Amazon Bedrock Guardrails automated reasoning checks is the first and only safeguard that helps you prevent factual errors due to hallucination based on mathematical, logic-based proof. Bedrock also supports model distillation. Like a teacher sharing knowledge with their students, you can run models up to 500% faster and 75% less expensive. And intelligent prompt routing can reduce your cost by up to 30% without compromising on accuracy. And agents are already our reality. And we help customers run them in production with AWS's signature scale, reliability, and security. We recently announced Bedrock Agent Core in preview, which provides the essential tools for executing real-world workflows. These include Gateway, to enable agents to connect securely to tools, data, and other agents via MCP. Memory, to provide a short and a long-term retention. Runtime, to ensure scalable deployment with an industry-leading session runtime. Identity, to ensure secure agent authentication. And observability, to monitor your agent's activations. We have built our own agentic AI services like AWS Transform. Next to VMware and mainframe modernizations, we help our customers modernize their .NET applications up to 4 times faster while saving 40% of their Windows licensing cost. And finally, there is Kiro, an AI-powered integrated development environment that transforms how developers build software. Kiro works alongside you, turning your ideas into detailed specifications, then working code, documentation, and test. What's unique about Kiro is it keeps you in the driver's seat. You're not just getting AI-generated code, you're building production-ready solutions that are exactly what you want with the quality assurance your team needs. At the heart of it all, we are not just creating technology and training Kiwis, we are enabling progress and empowering Aotearoa through what we build. Now, we are joined by a speaker from an organization that sits at the heart of our Kiwi identity, New Zealand Rugby. With a legacy of excellence, New Zealand Rugby not only manages the world's most iconic teams, but also leads major innovations behind the scenes, with a focus on athlete performance analytics. Please welcome Jonathan Southey, who's here to share how New Zealand Rugby is harnessing the power of the cloud and AI to support the future of the game on and off the field.
Kia ora, I'm Jono, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer at New Zealand Rugby. When you think about legacy and technology, you think about something old, something you want to change, something you want to rip out, if only you could find what it was wired into in the first place. But at New Zealand Rugby, our legacy is winning, and that drives everything that we do. The All Blacks win 76% of the time they take the field. The Black Ferns, after their win against Japan on Monday, are slightly higher at 82%. And that makes them 2 of the most successful teams in world sport. The problem with being at the top is that everybody's coming for you. You're the team that everybody wants to beat. So we need to out-innovate our competition. What's hard about that is that it comes down to such small things. We know about 90% of what's going to happen in a rugby match. We've seen it before in our analysis. The 10% is what we're looking for, and that's where technology and data earn their place. Our strategy to do that hasn't been to focus on the top 2 teams, but focus on the whole high-performance system. We're made up of 150 high-performance teams across men's and women's, 7s and 15s, provincial, super, and of course, our teams in black. And what we've built on AWS is an athlete-centric data ecosystem where the data follows our players, whatever jersey they pull on. That means that when Wallace Satiti is rehabbing an injury at the Chiefs and moves into the All Blacks, the data follows him. We know where he's up to in his recovery and what we need to do next. It means that when Georgia Miller moves from 7s to 15s for the World Cup, we know how fast her Bronco is and what we need to work on in the gym. And that's what allows every player, every team, and the whole system to reach their potential. Within that system, we think about data in 2 ways. We think about fast data and we think about slow data. Fast data is what informs actions in the moment. It tells us that Cam Roygaard's run a kilometre more than he should have for this point in the game, and we're going to sub him 3 minutes early. Slow data is what we trend about ourselves and our opposition over years. It informs our training program, our player contracting, and even our nutrition. Fast data is what keeps us sharp this week, but slow data is what helps us win World Cups. But of course, like many of you, we're overwhelmed by data. We have over 1,000 data points a player coming off them every match and every training session, which means the problem is no longer collection. It's about turning that noise into signal. We use AWS SageMaker to decipher exactly what's going on and serve that up to another differentiator, our coaches. Because if we can give them insight on the team bus home, then the review session on Sunday is better informed and the training session next week is better executed. So why do we choose to do all that on AWS? Of course, it's scalable and secure. As our data needs have grown, AWS has been able to grow with us and support us well. It also integrates really well with our high-performance tech stack that's relatively niche and has changed in both software and hardware over time. And finally, they bring innovation to us. We operate across just one industry and they innovate across them all. So we know we're able to bring outside thinking to our high-performance program to inform the next phase of strategy. Of course, in doing all that, we've learned a few things along the way. When you serve up data and insights to coaches, it's met with more questions, more challenges. And once you get over the initial shock of how much work that is, you start to see that for a good thing. You start to see that for engagement, because it means this stuff's of value, this stuff matters and it's making a difference. And we've actually begun to see silence as a warning sign that we're off track. That engagement has led to investment, not in a one-off sense, not for a budget cycle, but over years, which has meant that we've been able to build a solid data foundation for the future. And that's important, because when coaches change, as inevitably they do, the data foundation is in place for the next group to pick that up and start working for it to inform their next strategy to win. But at New Zealand Rugby, we're about more than high performance. We're about global fan engagement. We have over 100 million All Blacks fans worldwide, and we're starting to use AWS to power their global fan experience. And we know that if we can apply a high-performance mindset to that, that's when we'll have a real edge and build on our legacy worldwide. We'll be winning on the field and growing our business off it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jono. It's incredible to see how an iconic organisation like New Zealand Rugby is using technology to not just support world-class performance, but to also build a stronger game. It really reinforces just how powerful the combination of data and AI can be in sport. As you say, I think we're only just scratching the surface of what's possible, and AWS is proud to be helping New Zealand Rugby shape the future of its game.
Innovation is more than an idea. It's countless brave decisions made day after day after day. It's finding the voice to speak up and silencing the self-doubt. People drive innovation, our self-belief, a hunger for better, to find what's needed. Innovators move forward, turning vision into action. Because the future won't wait, and neither should you. It starts now.
Good morning. My name's Adam Barker, and I'm the head of technology for AWS New Zealand. And I'm joined on stage by two special guests, Kurt and Michelle, who are here to talk a little bit about how AWS thinks about both infrastructure security and a few other topics as well. I thought it might be best to start with maybe an introduction from you both. So Michelle, maybe a little bit about you, your role, and what you do day to day.
Sure. So my name is Michelle Tisson. I'm a principal TPM with EC2. And the team I'm on is primarily focused on new region and availability zone builds. So I was very involved in the New Zealand region build, so I'm excited to see some customers who are also excited about that launch. And I've been with AWS for 8 years now.
Right. Kurt?
Certainly. My name is Kurt Kuhfeld. I'm the Vice President of Governance, Operations, and Security Services. I own identity, cryptography, observability, and security services that our customers use to help with their side of the shared responsibility model. I guess I own those systems, those software systems that help or actually do keep our customers safe. I've been with AWS for 13 years and with Amazon for 25 and a half.
Right. Well, thank you both for joining us today. Kurt, I know security is such an important topic both for us and for many of our customers. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what end-to-end security means for AWS.
Absolutely. I think unlike many companies, one of the ways that AWS and frankly Amazon thinks about security is that it is part of everything we do. Security starts every day, 24 hours a day, and it starts with the design phase, goes through development phase, and on after launch continuously. Our security team is there to help us find a way to say yes, to find a way to launch and stay secure at all points in time. One of the best ways to think about that is the way that we think about our priorities. We have 4 of them. The number 1 priority is security. The second priority is durability. So security never loses never allow access to your customer's data to anybody that's not allowed. Durability, never lose your customer's data. Availability, always make sure that your customers have access to their data. And then everything else. So security, durability, and availability are tightly coupled. But the way to think about this is when we do our annual planning, when I do my resourcing for my teams, that comes before everything else, before features. And if something comes up, security always wins. And it's been like that for as long as I've been with AWS and for as long as I've been with Amazon. Does that help?
Yeah, nice, thank you. And so, Michelle, Kurt spoke a bit about the security aspects of it, but obviously resilience is a big thing. I guess the new region is kind of the topic of the day. What are the key principles that we follow when we design for new regions?
So first of all, when we talk about resiliency, we're referring to the ability for the workload to recover in case there's a service or infrastructure disruption. And at AWS, all of our regions, our global infrastructure is designed with resiliency top of mind. So I know Manuel touched on this earlier, but a region is a geographic location, such as New Zealand. And within a region, we have at least 3 availability zones. And this is across the board. All of our regions are designed this way. And an availability zone consists of a logical grouping of data centers. And each availability zone has its own independent power, cooling, it's on its own floodplain, power grid. And the reason why we do this is because in the event that there is a power outage, we want to make sure that it doesn't impact more than just that one location. And this idea of having at least 3 availability zones is very deeply ingrained in how we design our services, how we do region builds. Even when we start the region build, before we've even picked a site and we start the software build, we're already creating an environment with 3 availability zones. So we're doing it very, very early on. The second thing I'll say is our operational posture. So we are continuously trying to raise the bar. And so anytime there is an operational issue, we learn from that process. And one of the mechanisms we have to do that is our correction of errors, or COE process, which is a post-incident analysis document that service teams will author. And we use that to identify the root cause of issues. And what I appreciate most about this process is that it's not punitive. So the root cause of an issue can never be, oh, it was the operator's fault. No, that means we're not diving deep enough into the issue. And we'll share those learnings across the company so that it's not just the service team that's learning from the issue. And then finally, testing. So we all know things go wrong. And we want to make sure that our services are truly resilient. And one way to do that is to actually test them all of the time. So one of the ways we do this is through game days. So during a region build, once we've built out all of the services, we have a chunk of time set aside for us to do game days. And we'll actually do things like, what would happen if we just turn off a data center? And we just want to make sure that all of the services recover and recover in a timely manner. And then we'll take those lessons learned and apply them to other workloads. And that's proven so successful that we actually even have a game day testing environment where we can continuously learn from those game days. So those are just a few of the things that we think about with regards to resiliency.
Yeah, really interesting. And I think it's kind of easy if you're just a user of the console that you see the region. You don't necessarily see all of what goes in behind it with the complexity of both the different availability zones, the network connectivity, all the rest of that work, which I guess speaks a bit to the level of investment.
Definitely.
So, Kurt, maybe just talking about the region a little bit, how do we think about security and compliance when we're looking at new regions?
Well, when we build a new region, honestly, we don't think about it any differently than we do for any other region. One of the things that we do is to ensure that we have absolute consistency in the way we think about things, in the way we build systems, in the way we build regions. And that actually makes it both easier and more secure because every region's got the same security, every region's got the same durability. if I may provide you a physical example, we have this concept, by the way, we have this concept of a red zone. So when you go into the red zone, that's where the systems are, if you like. And any type of storage media that goes into the red zone never leaves the red zone. Today, we have, for lack of a better term, shredders that shred storage when it leaves the red zone. And it leaves in tiny little pieces. This is just to make sure that under no circumstances is there ever the possibility that data could leak. That's just an example, and we do that everywhere. And we build our regions with ensuring that we have always two sources of power, local and generator backup or something like that. Always have two suppliers of connectivity at a minimum coming in through different routes, and always ensuring that there is no single point of failure. That is the biggest single thing, and that is, by the way, by availability zone, not just region. And it's this concept that we can never go down.
Yeah. And I know something we've actually been speaking about in the last couple of days that's been around for a while, but I don't know we speak about it as much as we should, is Nitro and what that brings for customers. And
yeah, I should have mentioned that, yes. I was there when we decided to build Nitro. Nitro is the, for lack of a better term, the hypervisor that runs our systems. Now, one of the biggest concerns with running a multi-tenant system is what happens if the hypervisor gets compromised. And there have been historically some things where that's happened. Well, the way that we think about it is it's easiest to ensure that doesn't happen if you don't have a hypervisor. And by that, I mean that our hypervisors are in hardware, they run completely separate from our customer systems, and there is no access to a hypervisor. There's no SSH in, there's no way for us to get at it, there's no way for us to get on the box to look at a running system except through the APIs on a hypervisor, on Nitro, and those are incredibly limited. By the way, this has all been externally verified and it's published. And so when somebody says, hey, can you look at, we think you can look at my data when it's running, we can't. If somebody were to come and ask me, hey, I want you to look at XYZ's data, I would say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Those systems don't exist. That design principle, by the way, is true not just for Nitro. I happen to own the key management service. If somebody came to me and said, hey, I need the keys for this customer, I'd say, I cannot help you because that's simply not possible. The system's built specifically not to allow that. So not only do we ensure that our customers are safe under all circumstances. There is no back door. My people can't get at it. The governments can't get at it. It is absolutely designed to protect our customers.
And the nice thing there is that the same way we bring 3 availability zones, we use Nitro when we build regions, because we're very, very consistent.
Oh yeah, we use it for everything.
Yeah.
So by the way, that is true whether it's an Intel box or a Graviton or Inferentia. Everything runs using Nitro.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
No, thank you. So Michelle, you were talking a bit before about how we learn from operational processes, and I really love the quote, there's no compression algorithm for experience. Maybe you'd like to talk a bit more about like how we think there, and particularly I love this whole concept of a blameless review, like when something goes wrong, you just work out what went wrong and fix it. You're not like hunting for someone.
Sure. So we have hundreds of service teams, so thousands of engineers who are constantly innovating. So they're developing new features, making architecture changes, releasing new services, and that means a whole lot of code changes. And we have mechanisms and guardrails in place to minimize the chance of something going wrong, but at the end of the day, things do go wrong. And when that happens, the first priority is always to mitigate the impact. Once the impact has been mitigated, then we shift to learning from that experience. And I mentioned the COE process earlier. So what this actually involves is the service team will author a document, and they go through these 5 whys to really get into the root cause of the issue, and they'll assign action items. So they'll assign action items to themselves and to other service teams to try and close the gap and prevent reoccurrence. And these have tight deadlines, they have different priorities. And it's not just the team learning from this incident, because we also have ops meetings on a weekly basis at various levels. So we have at the team level, org level, and even AWS wide. And teams will bring their COEs to those ops meetings, and we have very senior folks who join those meetings. We have principal engineers leading those discussions, and engineers from various teams across the company will review the COE, and there will be a discussion around it. And teams will take action items from that meeting and see how they can learn from other teams' operational events. And so this really cultivates a culture of where we're all trying to continuously raise that bar on our operational posture and learn from when things don't go well, because what better way to learn than through when things don't go as expected. We also have an operational readiness review that teams undergo on a regular basis for their services and if they release a new feature or service. And a lot of the learnings from the COEs will flow into those operational readiness reviews as well. So I definitely say the COE process is my favorite way of how we learn from operational issues. And it's not just, engineering things. It's across Amazon that we follow this approach.
Yeah, nice. Well, thank you both very much. It was great to hear from you today. I really appreciated the insights. And again, thanks for, all the hard work in getting the region online, and we're looking forward to making New Zealand customers get the best benefit from it. Thank you.
My pleasure, our pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we're thrilled to welcome a team that's using cutting-edge technology with cultural preservation in powerful ways. Kiwa Digital is a proudly homegrown innovator using technology to revitalise Indigenous language and protect cultural knowledge. Joining us to share their mission of giving Indigenous communities control over their stories, language and data are Stephen Renata, Managing Director of Kiwa Digital, and Julie Ryan, CEO of Custom D. Please welcome them to the stage.
So there's about 7,200 languages worldwide. 40% of those are at risk on any given day. And we're losing about one language every 40 days. The mission here is to help Indigenous groups preserve their knowledge and amplify the Indigenous voice using technology, and making sure that we maintain the cultural integrity in that process.
We're here in Northland, and we call it the heart of Northland. So this is Kaikohe, and our hapu descends from Tutauru. Some people don't even know where the marae is or have walked on it, so for me that's a great loss. So how we get them back there, it's about our hapu communicating with our hapu outside of that.
So what we're doing now, looking at the future with AI and Culture Q and all of that, we're just continuing that mahi, we're continuing that navigation into the future. It's building a great foundation for all the kids below me. It's enabling them to have all these tools and have all of our history and our knowledge in one place. If we set these foundations right within Culture Q, man, these kids will have everything in their toolkit.
Knowledge is power. So holding your own knowledge and being able to empower your people with it, and then being able to tell the stories the way that you want to. And I think keeping it in a really safe, knowing space for everybody so they've got access to it just builds on that knowledge. And it builds on and empowers your own people.
E te pirimia, e mihi ana ki a koe. E te haukainga Ngāti Whātua ki ai ka mihi i ngā mana whenua tēnei rohi tēnā koutou. Ko Stephen Renata tōku ingoa, no Ngāpu i ahau, ko Ngāti Pakihi me Ngāti Rehia o ku hapu. Ko au te rangatiratahi me kaiwhakahaere mātua o Kiwa Matihiko. My name's Stephen Renata. I'm a descendant of the Ngāpuhi tribe and Ngāti Pakahi, Ngāti Rehia sub-tribes. And I'm the co-owner and managing director of Kiwa Digital.
Kia ora, I'm Julie Ryan and I'm the co-founder and CEO at Custom D. We're an AWS advanced tier partner and we are actually the only New Zealand-owned partner with the Gen AI competency. Every so often in the 20-odd years that we've been building and delivering cloud-based solutions, we get to work on something really special. It's a great honour to be on stage and sharing the story with Kiwa Digital today.
And with AWS and partner Custom D, we're building tools that protect Indigenous heritage and empower communities to control their own future. We're here to give you a little glimpse of that story. So who are we? Kiwa Digital. We're a Māori tech company based here in Tamaki Makaurau, Aotearoa. Our passion is to uplift and support the voices of Indigenous peoples, and we've been doing that for 20 years, helping Indigenous communities tell their story in their language. We're proud innovators, building world-leading tools like VoiceQ, CultureQ, the Ao Marama app, an award-winning app publishing. Ao Marama is an app that uses the maramataka, the Māori lunar calendar and Māori health models, and helps people track their well-being. Ranked top 10 in the first 10 days in Aotearoa and is still in the top 100 month after month, thousands of downloads and active users. Get your phone out and download now, Ao Marama. Media localization, our VoiceQ cloud tech and native tools have helped support 10 of the top 20 Netflix best ever projects. Squid Game is just one of them, so we're in the dubbing business. We've also been involved in dubbing Indigenous, so very proud of Disney's classics, Moana, The Lion King, Frozen and Kanto, into Te Reo Māori. Marvel Studios' Avengers into Lakota, a US Native American language, and most recently, a really good one, The Lord of the Rings, Power of Rings into Cherokee. Those that are into the gaming side of things, VoiceQ's been used for A-grade titles like Pokemon, Assassin's Creed and Lego games. But for us, success isn't just efficiency, it's about cultural pride and self-determination. Of the 7,200 living languages, 43% are at risk of being endangered. A language dies off every 40 days. So when a language dies, so does a worldview. The loss of culture, environment, and scientific knowledge is a loss for all of us. As a general rule, a language is endangered when children no longer are using it in a what we call lifetime experience. So an example that might be, I'm using it at home, at school, and I heard it on the radio. The future endangered version is it's only used in the weekends and for formal introductions. So about 4% of New Zealanders say they can hold a conversation in Te Reo Māori. If you ask Māori, that's about 18%. So while the popularity and use of Te Reo Māori is rising, we are still not out of the woods in terms of being potentially an endangered language. Indigenous languages like Te Reo Māori are also risk fading as the elders pass on and knowledge remaining in really isolated, fragile forms. Things like cultural assets, karakia, waiata, stories, histories. They've often been stored in places that include marae facilities, whānau homes and boxes, computer hard drives, USB sticks, and under Uncle Steve's bed. So without digital preservation, the communities risk losing heritage and massive opportunities. In these communities, data is not about information only, it's a taonga, it's a treasure. So by example, Māori have long faced exploitation and appropriation of cultural knowledge assets. So for them, data sovereignty means who sets the rules? Where's the data collected? How are the decisions made? Where does the data live for jurisdictional sovereignty? Who can access it and how long? Protection with consent, especially with technology like AI. How's it going to be applied honouring privacy, free, prior and informed consent with transparent human-in-the-loop safeguards to keep the knowledge authentic and safe. All of that's got to be wrapped in kaitiakitanga. Stewardship before ownership, right people, right time, right place. Protection that regenerates. Guard against harm and bias with strong security, lifestyle controls, and human oversight. And with the upcoming AWS New Zealand region, yes, data sovereignty and our ability to engender trust has become even stronger than ever. So then with CultureQ, our vision was pretty simple. Uplift and support the voices of Indigenous people around the world to bring diverse groups of people together for global prosperity. And our collaboration with Custom D enables that.
Under the hood, CultureQ utilises Caitlin, which is our generative AI platform. And that comes with pre-built natural language processing, content generation, and knowledge retrieval. We're able to deliver that through the use of white-labelled embeddable UI and API calls. Now, what that's meant for Kiwa is that they have been able to deploy a whole heap of really sophisticated AI capabilities on day one. And they've been able to do that without actually having to build up all of that Gen AI expertise in-house. Caitlin includes a cultural knowledge base that uses Conquery, and what we've done is we've layered on top of that curation and governance tools. As you've heard Stephen talk about, trust is such an important part of what we're doing here, and so we build that trust through the use of deep linking responses to authoritative cultural sources. And we also do that whilst maintaining alignment with the AWS Māori data lens and sovereignty frameworks. CultureQ with Caitlin delivers culturally governed AI through 6 essential capabilities. First up, we have the AI framework, which understands culture. It has built-in safeguards against biases and misrepresentation. Caitlin's answer generation system, we haven't been able to just use generic training data. We have to ensure that every single response is drawn from a validated cultural source. In the AI, that functions as a kaitiaki, a cultural guardian that protects against knowledge according to established community protocols. And such an important part of this, of course, is the end-to-end data sovereignty. That means Indigenous communities can maintain absolute and complete control over their cultural content. There's language revitalisation features, and they actively help to preserve these endangered languages that we've heard Stephen talk about that are just incredibly fragile. And we deliver this through the use of education, and that education is deployed through AI-powered tools. There's robust identity and access controls, and these ensure that only authorised community members can access this incredibly sensitive cultural knowledge. All of these capabilities work together, and they create an AI that truly serves and protects culture rather than commoditising it. So how does this all work together? CultureQ's platform is built on 3 critical technology layers. At the very foundation that underpins everything is, of course, AWS and Amazon Bedrock, and that provides all of that secure infrastructure and compliance frameworks that are needed for this sensitive cultural data. The middle layer, of course, is Caitlin, which is our AI engine, and that provides the intelligent document processing that can extract, it can analyse, and index that cultural content. Plus, of course, we have the natural language capabilities that make this knowledge really searchable and accessible. And then the magic comes from CultureQ and Kiwa. They bring that top layer, and that's all of that essential cultural expertise, those community relationships and governance protocols that ensure authentic preservation. These 3 layers, again, they work together to create this trusted platform that can preserve and share cultural knowledge at an enterprise scale. And undoubtedly, this makes Kiwa and CultureQ an absolute global leader in this space.
So what does that give us? Hey, well, this is what we're already experiencing. Up to 90% reduction in cloud data classification and transcription efforts. Over 10,000 taonga digitised across iwi and Indigenous partners, enhanced content discoverability, and secure digital preservation for future generations. Sacred oral histories, dreamtime stories. These are 40,000 years old, folks. Land claims and languages safely archived and accessible. Elders' knowledges, particularly those in our Aboriginal communities, their knowledge captured, strengthening their identity, belonging, and intergenerational bonds. But not only that, we just launched for the Cherokee Nation their own Cherokee Dictionary app. Download right now. First time in 50 years to improve Cherokee fluency. That's going to hit 1 million Cherokee residents, educators, and you. Go Kiwa. Come on. Here we go. Homai te paki paki. And custody. Youth education and language engagement, that's what we're seeing. Active community assets for storytelling, tourism, local initiatives, local council stuff. Māori Pacifica Pathways for Tech. We just employed our first female Māori developer in 22 years at Kiwa. Yeah. Come on. 22 years. I mean, really? We're not going to take 22 for the next one, that's for sure. Clients at Cherokee Nation in the States, the Nalia Heritage Foundation in Western Australia, these guys are pioneers, and I'm so privileged that they've taken us on the journey, blending innovation with traditional knowledge to protect their culture for generations. The big challenge, so something that we're trying to do here in Aotearoa, some government agencies are exploring decentralised service delivery strategies to empower iwi and hapu to deliver and manage their services in their own communities. However, the funding that's got to flow directly to local providers needs very, very accurate data and reporting to manage your taxpayers' dollars responsibly. So, Culture Q on AWS provides a secure, community-controlled data platform. This enables role-based access, transparent reporting, and safe handling of highly sensitive health and social data. This capability, in turn, will support the funding distribution from the government to hapu and iwi for relevant and more impactful service delivery. So the impact on that is first-of-its-kind capability in Aotearoa in Te Taitokoro, the far north. Builds trust and sovereignty for those Māori communities up there and still meets government requirements. This is going to be a game changer, folks, improving the outcomes for some of the country's most underserved communities. Getting this right, though, opens a door beyond Aotearoa to the world, so we can see a global vision of Indigenous language and culture to thrive in that digital age. Youth empowerment. Our rangatahi, youth become young ateras. That's one you want to write down. Young ateras, young rangateras. They'll become the creators and the publishers, sharing their own stories, voices on global platforms. We have 48-hour Kiwa Slam workshops or wānangas where we bring in the youth and they learn how to build an app in 48 hours. Do you know any of your kids that'll sit down for 2 days and create something? So it's a real mission bringing that with the technology. More Māori in Pacific and tech, we've mentioned that, including our wahine developers and content creators. The last thing we can see, though, is giving the communities the ownership in the tech, allowing them to have the sovereignty over their assets, their stories, their language, and their data. And ultimately, Culture Q becomes a platform built in Aotearoa, lighting up Indigenous voices across the world. So what have we got out of this? 4 things. Tech can be a cultural force. Our experience so far, working with AWS and Custom D, is this type of tech has really been in Māori, he kaha hurihanga whai tikanga, which means a transformative force that's guided by tikanga, values and protocols. Big learning, go slow to go fast. Take the time to listen to elders and kaumātua in their own spaces on their terms. You need to apply a consistent and authentic Indigenous-led, Indigenous-centred approach, and this implies their decision rights, not just our perspectives. And understand that transformation in these communities might be invisible until the whole community actually embraces it. Prove value early. It's simple things like going to these communities and having a pōheri, a mihi whakatau, a welcome, or running a slam workshop for the kids with tech that inspires first the respect, then the curiosity, then the confidence, and then the adoption. And then lastly, all about people. True success isn't about AI and latest tech features. That's a given, right? Really, the impact comes from empowering the people and building the cultural confidence on both sides while ensuring that the community know that their data is being protected and treated in a mana-enhancing way. But beyond everything that we've learned on this very short journey, to be fair, is that AI thrives on human trust. Technology alone is not enough. AI and human relationships cannot exist in isolation. And at Kiwa, and with Custom D, AI means for us 2 things: ancient intelligence and artificial intelligence. And we need both and apply both. We've found that working alongside the iwi and hapu, listening, co-designing, respecting protocols is actually what built the foundation of Culture Q. End-to-end data sovereignty, permissions, privacy only matter if the community actually believes in the system. When communities control their own narrative and their knowledge, AI becomes a kaitiaki, a guardian, and not a threat. We feel very fortunate that we've discovered Custom D, AWS, to ensure that we are innovating in trusted technology. Now it's time for Aotearoa to rise up. Tēnā rau atu, Custom D, mea AWS whānau whānui nō reira tēnā koutou, mauri ora kia tātou, translated, turning it back to you now. Thank you, Custom D and AWS. This kōrero will end for now. Thank you all. The breath of life. to us all.
Thank you, Stephen and Julie, for that powerful and thought-provoking session. It's inspiring to see how technology, when grounded in trust, partnership, and purpose, can help protect and revitalize cultures for generations to come. We are proud to support this important mahi and excited to see what the future holds for the communities you serve. The updates we have shared today are just the beginning of what's possible. And I know many of you are eager to dive deeper into specific areas that resonate with your business needs. The good news is, today is all about exploration. We have an incredible lineup of speakers and breakout sessions where our technical experts will take you further into everything we have discussed. Check your event app for the full schedule. Thank you for being part of AWS Cloud Day in Auckland. I can't wait to see what you build. We are live today. You can start building. Have a great day. Ngā mihi nui, and it's always day one.